Professor Nipa Viveni, Professor Zo Ramacharya, ex-director of Colleges, Higher Education Department, JNK.
तेरे साइड खड़ा
Boys will be joining us in online mode, who is first in Higher Education Department, JNK. Professor Meen I. Zafar, former Principal Higher Education Department, JNK. Faculty members, distinguished guests, participants, dear colleagues, and my dear students. Dr. Pirzada Mahmoud Yusuf will be chairman for the session today. I'm sorry, sir. Today, in this highly esteemed galaxy of guests we have here, I, Tanveer Ahmed Loan, Assistant Professor Computer Applications, Postgraduate Department of Computer Science, GDC Baramulla, humbly extend a hearty welcome, big and warm enough to encompass you all. To say that we are thrilled to see you here will be an understatement. So I mean it, that it will be an understatement, because we are highly thrilled to have such a galaxy of intellectuals and knowledgeable persons with us today. I take pleasure to introduce the chairman for the technical session today, technical session second of this conference, Professor Pirzada Mahmoud Yusuf. Sir happens to be our former director, colleges, higher education department, JNK. He has worked as Dean Academics in Cluster University, Srinagar, and served as principal in many reputed colleges of JNK, and has been as a knowledgeable academician, a pivotal administrator, and a great leader. So we are indebted to you for accepting our invite and giving time from your busy schedule. Thank you very much, sir. Our co-chairman for the session will be Professor Tarak Chabu, Head of Department Physics, GDC Baramulla, a true son of soil, a great physicist, and a gentle human being, a legend in himself, a charming and proactive personality who is a driving force for all of us here at GDC Baramulla. Professor Chalko has worked in many colleges of UT of JNK and is actively involved in innovation cell of higher education department, and he is also serving as a nodal officer for placement cell of JNK higher education department in UT of JNK. Today with us we have Professor Dr. R.P. Srinivastava, Professor, Department of Higher and Professional Education, National Institute of Education, Planning and Administration, NIPA, New Delhi, with us. Professor Srinivastava has completed her PhD from JNU, New Delhi, and has done masters in two disciplines, education and economics. Professor R.P. has worked and contributed in a number of institutions from BHU Varanasi to colleges associated with University of Delhi. She has taught in various institutes of repute in Meerut, Agra, National Labour Institute, Noida, Institute of Applied Manpower Research in Planning Commission, IGNOU Bhopal University Center, etc. She has also worked for Skills of Employability in South Asia, Rockefeller Foundation. She has commissioned papers on population and corporate social responsibility for SOCHM in 2011. She has worked with MHRD for evaluation of model college scheme. Her consultancy projects include NCRT, CBSE, Wisconsin University, USA. She is a UGC resource person for capacity building for faculty. She is also serving as consultant to NIOS and Madam has a large and vast number of publications, if I start naming them, it will take a lot of time. So I will take pardon from ma'am for not mentioning them. I humbly thank ma'am for accepting our invitation and giving us time from her schedule and considering our request to be part of this program. Thank you, ma'am. We shall definitely be benefited from her rich experience. I am indebted to Professor Zoom sir, former Director of Colleges, UT of J&K. Professor Zoom sir is a distinguished academician, administrator, and an eminent orator. Served as chairman of J&K Board of School Education and Director of College in J&K Higher Education Department. He has also served in various capacities in J&K Higher Education Department for a period of around 37 years. His abilities and acumen as Chairman J&K Board and Director of Colleges have been instrumental for improving the quality of education in the UT of J&K. Professor Chart has numerous research publications to his credit and is an invited speaker in various national and international events. Thank you, sir, for being with us today. I feel elated to introduce Professor Dr. Sarabjit Singh, OSD in Higher Education Department, J&K, who shall be joining us in online mode through Google Meet. Professor Sarabjit is associated with the College of Engineering and Technology, Jammu. Due to his exposure in Higher Education Department, he has been given the assignment of implementation of NEP in colleges of UT of J&K. Dr. Sarabjit is also interested in the assignment of operation and execution of UGC schemes in colleges of J&K. I am humbled to introduce a very humble personality, Professor Meem Hai Zafar, former principal, J&K Higher Education Department. Professor Zafar has gained experience in working in various positions of Higher Education Department. He has served as principal in various colleges of UT of J&K, who definitely will be benefited by his vision and experience. Thank you for being with us, sir. At the end of the session, we shall have participant presentations from Dr. Sayyid Humayun Shabir, Assistant Professor in Department of English, GDC Baramulla, Dr. Ruhi Mushtaq, Assistant Professor, Department of Biotechnology, SP College, Srinagar, and Dr. Shah Ubaidullah, Assistant Professor, Department of Biotechnology at Islamic College of Science and Commerce, Srinagar. Without further ado, let us begin the functions of today, and I invite our chairman and all the dignitaries to kindly grace the occasion. On behalf of Principal of the College, Dr. Mohammed Farooq, and all faculty members, I would like to welcome and let me hand over the proceedings of the session to Dr. Rizala Muhammad Yusuf Saab, Chairman, shall be the chairman of the session today. Sir, please.
I have spent 5 years of my early stages of teaching, and always I come here with a lot of enthusiasm and hope that I will be taken as one of the training members of this institution. I thank Professor Farooq for inviting me here today in this conference. At the same time, I thank the audience here who will be, inshallah, actively participating in these proceedings. We have two invited talks today. One from Professor Arti Srivastava, who has been introduced just now. She is a learned speaker and will be benefited by her insight on this NEP and overall scenario of education in the country. And I think personally that this NEP 2020 is really a game changer for the whole country's higher education as well as school education system. But today we have to concentrate on the implementation part because we have been knowing about higher education NEP, about NEP for last 2 years. Way in 2020 we had the first conference at the UG level, which was inaugurated by President of India. Since then we have been working towards the implementation of this policy. It is very important that all the institutions have this such kind of interactions where the policy comes down to each person know what the policy is. It is you can say revision or you can say training for all students also and the teachers that they come to know about the nitty-gritties of this policy. Before inviting the first speaker, I would request the invited speakers, learned speakers, that kindly they will stick to the time because time is a constraint. We allow them 20 minutes for their talk, and we will be having discussion at the end of the session. If there are any queries, questions, they will be taken up separately. So let me start this program by inviting Dr. Arti Srivastava to speak on her topic about autonomy and NEP in higher education future scenario.
College for having me here at Baramulla, and I'm very happy to be here because higher education is a field for me. The wider I go, a very good morning to everybody, people on the dais and in front, audience. I'm very happy to be here, and because higher education is a field for me. The more colleges I visit, the more context, I can add to my and insight to my lectures, in all over the country. So I'm very thankful for giving me this opportunity to come here and speak to the audience here. Now, NEP 2020, that has been the talk of every seminar from 29 July 2020 to this date. Yeah, is this better? Yeah. NEP 2020 was announced by our Prime on 29 July 2020. And since then we have been fumbling with how to implement. It is a very good document and it came, very late because the first policy came in 68, the next one in 86, but then after so many years we had a policy which is the 2020 policy. And as said, that it seems to be a game changer. The document is a very utopian document, and the challenge now is in the implementation. Our policy is as good as implemented. Because what is a policy? The policy is only a directional statement. When it finds its feet, and it's only when it is implemented. So if you look at the policy, 60% of the policy is in higher education, only 40% it deals in school education. If you look at higher education in a country, we see that in over the years we have only continued from the colonial past to this date. We did not have a major change good teaching, so investment in this kind of a sector is, I think, a good, measure that, the new education policy really talks about. After that, we see, that, reaching the unreached. So they're talking about digital education where we are reaching the unreached to large, massive online systems. In fact, the GDC has also given the option to the university that up to 40% of the courses can be done through online method and through the credits are transfer. Where we have credit for each system. Now we can have both horizontal and vertical mobility built into the system, so that people can benefit by the systemic institutions. A person from this college can do some credits in IIT or JNU or any of the top institutions of the country, because the horizontal mobility is now built. So any of you who are sitting here want to go experience other colleges, other institutions, you are free to go with an MOU with the different universities, because the credit transfer has been worked upon and we have the Bavarian modified equation to make it intertransferable. So that is now being worked. That will be soon announced by the ministry, that which the equation is there. How would you change your credits and do a course in the other top institutions of the country and learn from other institutions, not only through a bank college or bank university, but through many other institutions. So that can be worked out, and I think that's a very path-breaking thing that the new policy talks about. We also have the academic credit bank. It's not only credit transfer, but the credit bank also. Like supposing you want to take a break due to family situations and want to take a break in the thing. So your credits will be in the bank, and you can use that not being accredited. So before he completes one cycle, it will become a super body, and under it will be number of other bodies which will be accredited. So accreditations, there will be competitions of the smaller bodies accrediting, and then who is better than whom will become another question for research, in higher education, that which body is better and why they are using a different criteria. Here at least at the national level we have a criteria given, and good or bad, but the benchmark is in a national form and more uniform form. So, when we look at these kind of problems, to make a change and say that, we will not do NAC will be an overarching body to look into other accreditation, smaller bodies, will not give us real solutions, will not give us real solutions. Also, withdrawing, saying that, the good thing in the policy is that they do call education as a public good. So they accept that, it is a public good, and the government should fund for these kind of, for higher education in India. But at large, we see that, the public funds are really, rolling, there's a rollback in the public funds. So the quality, having, institutions of eminence, there are 12 institutions of eminence, both public and private, giving them the money only and not really going to the grassroots level and, making them, institutions of excellence will really not take us far. So with that, I think I will be available for very many questions. So thank you very much. I hope I have the time.
Thank you so very much, ma'am, for such an illuminating talk on autonomy of higher education institutions. We are really blessed to have a galaxy of these speakers coming to our college and giving us an insight into the roadmap which we should follow for autonomy of the college. Now my request is extended to the Deputy Principal of the college, Professor Mohammed, to please present a welcome bouquet and a memento to Professor Aarti Srivastava for being in the institution. My request is again extended to our eminent Staff Secretary, Professor to present a memento, a token of love to Professor Aarti Srivastava for an invited talk. To Aarti ma'am. Thank you. I hand over the proceedings back to the chairman. Thank you, sir, for excusing us.
Thank you, ma'am, for your picture. She said that autonomy gives you wings, and hopefully autonomy will give wings to this institution. And I feel that when we were in the system as teachers, we always wish that we would bring some changes in the curriculum, in the subjects, or we would start something for the guidance of students. But the application body would always hinder, would always become an impediment. And if we help students to move towards autonomy, and the hiccups of the administration granting you the NOC for going to the autonomy are almost removed. So this college is privileged to have got this autonomy status, that is the autonomous college. I wish and I pray that the institutional academic administrator, that the principal along with his team, will try to give some innovative programs to the students so that they can become industry ready, they can be employable after they leave this institution, or they can look in research innovation sectors to become good researchers. They can be very important for the society. They can contribute when they leave this institution. If you have got autonomy. For the first 3 years, you will have the academic autonomy. And after that, it will be evaluated by the concerned university. They will see how far you have been able to run this autonomy successfully. And then you will be an autonomous college in the real sense when you will be taking administrative decisions also. But during these 3 years, you are liberated from affiliation, and you can have your own boards of studies, you can have your administrative council, you can have your own examination system. You can use innovations in assessment, in evaluation. You are free now. So you can be the leaders. You can become an instrument of leadership for other colleges. So I hope that this college being a lead college, it has a potential, because along with this college, another college also got a CPE, College with Potential for Excellence, but they could move beyond this. Because what is important in having a status and then maintaining it and moving a step ahead towards the autonomy is the leadership. So you have been privileged to have good leaders earlier, and also you have a young leader this time also heading this institution with his enthusiasm, zeal, he has already been able to get an A grade at a remote college, that is in Kupwara. I feel that if he puts in a lot of his effort and takes along all his staff members, he will be able to guide this institution to reap the benefits of the autonomy. Autonomy is very, very important. The way countries get freedom. In a similar way, on this analogy, colleges are free. They get freedom once they are given the autonomous status. You can work towards the innovation, you can work towards research, you can work towards the skill components, polishing courses, everything can come, digitization, only because now he is an autonomous, principal of an autonomous college. So with these remarks, I now invite one of our learned colleagues, Professor Jodha. He has worked in different capacities in the higher education as a nodal principal, as chairman board, as principal, as then a director. I think that he will concentrate on the very important aspect of this autonomy, that the administration. I wish that he could focus on the topic and enlighten us what are the challenges and how can we get this autonomy. Thank you. That's what I thought.
Today I am feeling highly nostalgic by coming to a college where from I started my teaching career long back in 1983. And I am also the privilege of being the first developers of the hostel that was constructed during my time on the right hand side of the hilltop of this institution. I stayed here, and today I am feeling the absence of my mentor in this college, Professor Shaukat, whom we used to call in those days Dr. Shaukat sir. He would act as a mentor, particularly to youngsters in this institution. And I also remember the companionship and friendship that was provided during my stay in this institution, and afterwards also by Manjeet Prem Singh, who worked in this institution all along his life, and whom he lost last year due to COVID infection. And I think this is the occasion to pay homage to these two souls, along with all those who have been here during my times and who are no more now in the world. And I am sure that their noble souls will be getting a great deal of solace to refine their institution getting an autonomous status.
Sir, may we request for 1 minute silence?
Yeah.
I want to silence for the deceased, and we pray for their peace of soul. Okay, thank you very much. Sir, please carry on.
Thank you. I would not be talking about national education policy 2020. All of you understand various contours and dimensions of this new education policy. I would state already coming to the autonomy that has been granted to this institution and what challenge this institution has to face in the times to come and how to overcome those challenges. But before I take up that, one brief introduction about the origin of having a new policy in India, NEP 2020. It was a compulsion. Everybody is saying that we have a policy of 1968, 1986, and those are the dimensions that are contained in this new policy, NEP 2020. Most of those contours and dimensions are included in 1986 policy. We have Dr. R.P., an eminent educationist here. That policy also spoke and talked about the vocationalization of education, multidisciplinarity. But after 1986, there have been large-scale changes in the globe, in the world. Particularly when control system across the world was withdrawn, especially from the business. All countries became one in terms of carrying out the business operations. Due to the emergence of WTO, World Trade Organization, to which we became the part, India became the part of World Trade Organization, we opened the boundaries of the trade and commerce, trade of services, trade of products across all the member nations of the WTO. So that actually posed a challenge to all the member countries of World Trade Organization. And they became the leaders in providing the education in tune with the requirements of the business. Ladies and gentlemen, remember one thing, that objectives, broader objectives of education after 1999 underwent a large change. Before 1990 or 86, we would say that education in no way is related to employment. We would say that through education we have to create the philosophers, we have to create the poets, we have to create the intellectuals, we have to create the thinkers. Our object was never related to providing the jobs to the people through the medium of education. But somehow, when the world economies underwent a change, structural change after 1990, education got related to the market. Through these educational institutions, particularly higher educational institutions, you have to create a force who find out employability in the exterior world to which they have to join. You draw your input, Madam talked about input and output relationship. You draw your input from the environment in which you live, and the output that you churn out from your institutions has to find out a place in the same environment in which wherefrom we have actually got it as an input. That output has to be a valuable output in terms of the requirements of the business. It is purely a business concept. This change of new education policy bringing about NEP 2020, it is the manifestation of what changes have taken place in the economic scenario of the world. It's the manifestation of that. And that's why we this time talk about that more stress is to be laid on the vocationalization, multidisciplinarity and all such things. That corporate world which is actually dictating the political system of the countries. I'm not talking particularly about India. I'm talking about the world at large. including India. This corporate world is actually determining the fate of the politics of the nations. So corporate world requires that students who are churned out of the institutions, they have those of the characteristics which they actually require. And therefore, all developed countries of the world made out their changes in terms of the educational scenario, in terms of the educational policies and systems in their respective countries, and India was forced to do that. You cannot lag behind. You have now to keep your educational setting and educational system in tune with what the educational system across the globe is being followed. These concepts we borrowed from the West. We borrowed all these concepts, vocationalization, multidisciplinary. We are in the West. Basically, India, all these countries are being accredited without even judging the circumstances in which we actually operate. Now that this policy has become a reality, it is now the time that we work on implementing various provisions that are contained in NEP 203. I am giving a little background. I should not be talking more about the origin of this policy. We have not been so much enthusiastic about this policy. We know why this policy has come out, what were the reasons responsible for that, everybody knows that. And then I'm talking about autonomy, particularly autonomy that has been granted to this institution. I must compliment this institution for having been granted this autonomy at the hands of the University Grants Commission. And this concept of autonomy, let's not be so overwhelmed, too much happy and glad about this autonomy. That is also being snatched by the same policy why we actually start implementing this policy. We have started implementing NEP 2020 by following the national curriculum. Autonomy, first of all, we should talk about the academic autonomy. The autonomous institutions will enjoy the autonomy in framing their own courses, designing their own courses, designing their own curriculum, choosing their own courses. That has also been snatched by the University Grants Commission. You are esteemed administrators and faculty members, you must be knowing that you have now to follow the curriculum as is prescribed by the University Grants Commission across the country. So no choice whether you are to make any kind of change in the course contents of various courses. Yes, in terms of the academics, you enjoy the autonomy, academic autonomy, in terms of offering to the students programs which maybe other institutions are not offering. You can choose your programs. You can design your programs which are not the uniform courses and programs being offered across the country. You have to understand, when you are granted autonomy, you have to understand yourself. You have to make a SWOT analysis, which we used to call during our time SWOT analysis. You make the SWOT analysis. You have the strengths, you have the weaknesses, and where you have the competitive advantage, you can exploit that competitive advantage that you enjoy for bringing more efficiency and effectiveness in the system after having been granted the autonomy at the hands of the University Grants Commission or also such institutions. You see, when you start implementing certain things, it has to have some kind of relationship with your affiliate university, with the government. You are autonomous but affiliated. You are autonomous but will remain still affiliated to the university. Everything is to be done by the institution, the concerned institution that is granted autonomy, and the certificate is to be issued by the university to which you were previously also affiliated. What actually NEP certificate awarding institution. That is basically what we have to work for. I don't know if there is any representative from the government and the universities here in the audience. I don't know that. But I would request the organizers to just make record a point for the government and for the affiliating university, your University of Kashmir this time. Government has to take up vigorously this issue with the affiliating universities. We have 3 colleges now in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir that are autonomous colleges. But still, 2 of the colleges which have previously been working over the last 3 to 4 years as autonomous colleges, they have started facing more problems at the hands of having been given autonomy. More problems they are facing. Therefore, it is, I request the reporters to record, it's a responsibility of the government of the state, higher education department, to take up the issue that these 3 institutions that have been granted autonomous status by the concern should be declared as certificate awarding institutions. If that is done, that would be really a source of benefit for not only the students but for the entire Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. We have the capacity. You have the capacity. All these institutions that have been declared as autonomous, they have the capacity to just do all the processes that are actually involved in awarding the degrees. When you can prepare your result at your home, when you can set your evaluation system and examination question papers at your home, get those evaluated at your home, and pick the students for the course which you want as per your own convenience. Why can't you award a degree to the students who have actually qualified from your institution, from an autonomous institution? This issue is to be pursued by the government vigorously with the university. Otherwise, the purpose of the autonomy does not serve it. It doesn't serve it. And at the same time, I would like to know from the university, have they brought about any change in their working, their functioning, vis-a-vis the autonomous colleges? I know when those 2 of the autonomous colleges, already autonomous colleges, when they approached the universities for completing various requirements and the formalities prior to actually starting their activities as an autonomous institution, what kind of difficulties, unnecessary difficulties, university used to act as a big brother. University would act as a big brother and create unnecessary hurdles for the college institution. That's why the NEP 2020 suggested that in a phased manner, all those colleges that have the capability and the capacity should come out of this hurdleship and this kind of environment that is created by the affiliating system. Do not they have any kind of mechanism to ease out the process? This is also pretty important. I think the government of this Union Territory Concerned Department should actually call a meeting of the affiliating universities, all the affiliating universities, to sit together and work out a model as per which the hurdles that were earlier created by the university, those hurdles are overcome. And then only the purpose of the autonomy will get solved. And then, ladies and gentlemen, what is the role of the government after an institution is declared as an autonomous institution? In respect of an autonomous institution, the head of the institution is all powerful. Understand that. Your foreign son is all powerful. He is not an ordinary principal now. He is more powerful principal because he has decided things about his institution at his own level, taking consultation from all the stakeholders. Not that he will be dictated by the exterior agencies while designing the plans and formulating the plans. So, exercise those powers to the fullest possible level so that the benefits of autonomy to the institution actually reach to the stakeholders, including the students. Let this forum act as reach to tell the government that government should have to rigorously follow and pursue this to the university. And when we talk about the autonomy, nothing moves unless a piece of paper moves. Nothing moves in the system unless a piece of paper moves. You need financial support. You need financial support, the public financial support. And I'm sure that your department, higher education department, does not have any kind of problem, any kind of issue when providing the funds to the institutions. Especially they will have to consider the autonomous colleges for special funding. And our working principle of structural adjustments are to be done. You have to do the structural adjustment while you are an autonomous institution. You have to create your board of governors. And that board of governors will be actually formulating the plans and policies of the institution. You have to formulate that. You have to formulate the council, the syndicate, as we have in other autonomous institutions like universities. You have to formulate and constitute the boards of the studies in various areas in this institution. So, and then previously we used to remain confined to in the institutions only with the process of conducting the examinations at the behest of the universities, affiliated universities. Now that all steps that are involved in the process of evaluation, all such steps have to be taken care of by the institution at its own. So institution needs a separate examination cell, a separate dedicated for this particular purpose only within the institution in order to make this process of evaluating the degrees or evaluating the marks and doing all what is actually required for the conduct of examination evaluation process. Doing all that, you need a separate cell. Let the government is talking about autonomy, very happy about all this what has happened in the institution. And if you take up this issue with them, that we have to create a specialized cell for the purpose of meeting the requirements of autonomy, maybe they may face some of it. Or maybe they may not. But somebody has to take up this issue with the government. Let them create this special cell, these institutions, examination cell, which should be a dedicated examination cell, and manpower planning and manpower creation is to be done for them. You see, every institution tries to work to the fullest possible level. But unfortunately, we have a problem with the institutions with regard to the manpower. Ultimately, autonomous or non-autonomous, the fate of the institution is determined by the manpower which occupies various positions. Its physical infrastructure is a requirement, but physical infrastructure is not the only thing which will actually determine the fate of the institution. Fate of the institution is determined by the dedication, involvement, and the visionary workforce that are actually working within the institutions. So that kind of atmosphere, your head of the institution has to act as an institution and provide leadership and remain alert, proactive with regard to finding out the strategic or formulating the strategic plans within the institution after having consulted various stakeholders. Let you remain associated with the process of making the institutional plans, short-term or long-term institutional plans, strategic plans, how you actually transform your vision of the institution, mission of the institution, or goals of the institution into reality. How you can do that? And please remember, my dear colleagues, my faculty members, and all those who are here, the normal teaching learning process which we have in the institution, say 5 hours or 6 hours teaching learning process, it is gone. If you are now in an autonomous institution, we have to work extensively and for more time. Madam talked about research and innovation. Research and innovation has to be one of the important parameters determining your institutional ability. She said that college teachers do not find time for conducting the research activities. And therefore, 80% time we will have to devote towards the normal teaching learning process, and only 20% of the time we can devote to the research and innovation. College teacher, I would like to elucidate and make her sure that college teachers who have talent, they are ready to take up this challenge and responsibility of conducting the full-time research and part-time research within their institution. But for that, you have to create an environment within the institution. You have to create the facilities within the institution. One who's a PhD holder who has done PhD in his own branch of knowledge, he is ready to take up any kind of research activity within the institution. Also, subject to the condition that you create that kind of environment within the institution. But when you develop that infrastructure which is actually required by the institution for carrying out the research project and research activity, we are ready. We are not ready to give only 20% of the time for research activity, but let the institution come forward. Let the institution and government come forward, creating the ambience of research and innovation within the institution. It's not that we will talk only about the research and innovation within the institution. It is that we have to translate it into reality now. When you talk, everybody talks. Everybody is now talking about that. We have to do research and activity within the institution. Suggest the teacher doing this. Let him create the atmosphere for that. Let there be the infrastructure for that. They have the capacity. We have suggested to the government even in the past that let the research hub be created in each of the districts, wherein the faculty of all the colleges of that hub would conduct the research activities on the basis on those facilities that are actually created for a hub. Let the government come forward with that kind of funding, that research activity carried out by the faculty of the institution. Really, otherwise we are ready to carry out the research. We cannot blame our teachers that they are not involved in the process of research and innovation within the institution. Let the ambience be created for that. Let the government come forward with generous funding. I am given to understand that some new heads of budgetary heads have been created by the government of Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, including research. Research is one of the heads. Now, what can we do actually make use of that research funding within the institution? Do we make use of that research funding by the government under that head for carrying out the seminar type of activities only? Or do we support any researcher within the institution, I mean the faculty member who is interested to carry out any research? Do we have that? Do we create that atmosphere? Do we keep our library and other laboratories open beyond the normal working hours within the institution? So we keep the facilities available to the researchers beyond the normal working hours as well. So these are some of the challenges that we have to face as an autonomous state. And I'm sure that with the support of all the faculty and all the stakeholders, the students of the institution, the alumni of the institution, civil society living in the vicinity of the institution, all the stakeholders have to come forward and put their efforts for the purpose of creating an atmosphere. This word is actually hanging on to my hand on the backside. So with these words, I would still like to have some kind of interaction which will not be a part of this national seminar. Maybe in the future, I would like to get the faculty and my...
So we have next speaker as Dr. Sarjit. But before inviting him, I would like to commend our speaker. Our Sangha is valuable, and thought-provoking lecture on the autonomy. He is really concerned about the challenges and the problems that institutions face, particularly vis-a-vis the human resources and all that. So it is better the policy that after running autonomy to the institutions, the concerned university will have to mentor them to guide them, and the bond between the affiliating institution and the university must be strong so that they can guide the institution in its curriculum and in the introduction of new subjects or studies because the college is fresh, going for an autonomy. Therefore, mentoring is very important. So the university has come forward without any bias, without any ill will, and it has come forward and helped the institution to be on the institutional activities in curriculum, in administration. But at the same time, he has been very right in saying that the administration has to take a call on the challenges that the college will face. They have to make a policy for allowing that team to work in the institution for some time, so that the college is really taking the roots of it. Otherwise, once somebody has control and can give an assignment, and after setting the work for 1 month, 2 months, is getting transferred. So transfer policy is to be modified so that inside the institution, where autonomy has been brought in, aggregate number of the teachers are there, staff is there, because they need supporting staff to run these small, what we call it, we can say small autonomous bodies within a institution, like examination equipment autonomous body. Similarly, curriculum designing equipment autonomous body. So those people who are involved in this should not be disturbed for quite some time after, I think, for 3 or 4 years, so that the institution really takes this benefit of their system. So talking more in time, but I would give this online. You see? So we invite, he has sorry for this speaker because he lost his mother, and his commitment is such that he wants to be part of this today's program. Therefore, we allow him to connect with us online and has to have his thoughts on the program. Okay.
Kindly seek audience, visibility, everything. We can move that desk also. Or that.
There is blur.
All right?
इसका blur है.
Can you start?
Yes, yes.
Please.
Very good morning to all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank the raising committee for this giving me this opportunity to speak on this video of topical attack. So, first of all, I thank all, including the dignitaries on the stage, Professor P. Sarkar, the former director ecologist, Professor Chandru, Professor Abdi, the principal GDC Baramulla, the organizing committee, colleagues and my good friends. This is Dr. Sarabjit Singh. I am working as Officer of Special Duty in the Higher Education Department, and I am also being part of a team constituted by the Higher Education Department for looking into the different and management to work on a similar platform for better understanding of college curriculum, designing of the course content, teaching student evaluation. And when we talk about the academic autonomy or autonomy of the institutions, there are two different definitions. One is given by the UNESCO, which is there that the institutional autonomy is a degree of self-governance, and the MEP also defines it in its own way that by the year 2020 and by the year 2040, all the HEIs have to be independent, either autonomous colleges or autonomous degree granting institutions or UNIs or teaching intensive universities or research intensive universities. Sir, my presentation is visible. So these on the screen, these are the different themes of national education policy. that whatever the national education policies tells us about. We all know about it, but why I am putting it in my frame today is that when we talk about the academic freedom and when we talk about the autonomy, all the parameters, all the domains and the subdomains of the national education policy have to be taken into consideration, whether it is institutional reconstruction, faculty motivation, equity, teacher education, vocationalization, academic reforms, research facilities or effective learning. And when all these domains are concised in a single subatomic particle, then it makes us to have a responsible role. It gives us an accountability, it gives us a self-governance, and it gives us the power to take decisions. And when we take all these things into one frame, the academic freedom and autonomy comes out of it. Now, I have just prepared only 10 to 12 slides to just give a preview of what we are doing at our level in the education department, what NEP says about a way forward. So NEP says that whenever we talk about academic freedom and autonomy, you have to take the institutional reconstruction into consideration because it is a process. National education policy is not an absolute thing. It is basically a relative thing which is relative to all the different aspects and the sub-aspects which I said in the earlier stage that when we talk about the autonomy, it has into it the accreditation part, it has into the curriculum design, it has into the ranking aspect, it has into the student feedback system, it has the placement record, it has the better vocationalization, better skilling. So when we talk about institutional reconstruction, the higher education department has played a good role whether it comes into the accreditation of by NAC or by PAC. We are trying to do like 48 of our colleges are NAC accredited, and we are very happy that this year also we got one more college to be the status of autonomous college. So these are some of the things which mix up together and they formulate a big giant aspect of academic freedom and autonomy. So when we talk about the holistic and multidisciplinary education, it gives us a lot of freedom when we design the course curriculum, when we develop the different modules and the sub-modules of the course, because academic freedom is not only a freedom, it is basically a responsibility that comes into the highest level of accountability. So it is very essential for our part to be very, enjoying the freedom given by the constitution accordingly, enjoying the freedom given by the different guidelines, including the NEP 2020, that this academic freedom comes with some sort of responsibility and accountability also. Theme of optimal learning environment and support of students, we see that whether it is delivery or assessment, designing or assessment evolution, the national education policy gives us a lot of academic freedom and autonomy to do a lot of things. Whether it comes into the engaging the pedagogy, continuous formative assessment, some different online teaching learning, or they can also use the blended type of learning which is very much popular in India and abroad. So all these parameters, all these things make a complete bouquet of beautiful flowers, and that beautiful flowers reaches us and makes us towards a single common goal of autonomy. Because if someone will ask us, or if someone will ask me that what is NEP means in one word or one line, so I always say what I have learned is that it means autonomy. So all that means, whether it is academic excellence, whether it is student support, whether it is skilling, whether it is research, everything leads to a same single point of autonomy. Similarly, when we talk about the capability enhancement of the faculty, when we talk about the faculty development, the education enhancement program for the education, for the PhDs, the higher education department is playing its important role into it. So all these things are, side by side running into a very the institute level and at the higher education level, because different MOUs are also from their perspective, from academic perspective, economically disadvantaged groups. That is also very important because when we bring those people into the main platform, they can also support us because when we talk about autonomy, it not only means the giving of self-government, it also means the autonomy and the equity to each and every student. The student is also given a vital role in overall development of the institute. So I'll only share the last two slides that what actually is in the mind of our education department and what is actually the framework what we are working and what we suggest the institutions to just have this thing concept in their mind that how they can have the goals and how they can achieve their goal. Right now we are at 2022. If any of the institution wants to be independent autonomous college or wants to be a stage where they can be in those granting institutions, they have to make a roadmap, they have to make a plan. First of all, they have to get a good MAC accreditation, they have to open new courses, they have to start the PG programs depending on the research facility they have. They can have the MOUs with the different agencies and opening of different center of excellences. Then the two institutions can go for NIRF ranking because this ranking framework will only be helpful to us when we go for establishing a new or establishing a research intensive or a teaching intensive university. Similarly, we have to develop a standardized research program within the institute, and every institute has an independent and autonomous cell which will focus on the research activities, whether it is a publication, the patents filing, the sponsor projects or industry institute partnerships. And if we go this way, then definitely by the year 2024 or by the year 2025, some of the institutions can be autonomous institutions. The autonomous institutions can develop into the autonomous degree granting institutions, and by the year 2030, the autonomous degree granting institutions can be converted into the names of the research intensive universities. Now, this is the final slide which gives us the overall pictorial review of what exactly NEP is, what is academic reforms, what is academic freedom, and what is the autonomy. And this is also the NEP 2020 implementation draft plan for UBF Jammu and Kashmir. You see, in the middle, it is only this slide is being concise into this slide, and these arrows shows us all the domains of NEP, that how equity has to be included, how professionalization has to be included, how multidisciplinary education has to be included, how pedagogy has to be improved, and how the research and the skilling part has to be achieved, so that by the time these, what you see on the screen this time, 14, 11, 16, 17, these are the names of the themes or the chapter names of the national education policy for our education. So this is basically a very technical aspect which has to be worked on, and we have to make a roadmap, we have to make a plan. That plan can be for 5 years, that plan can be for 10 years, but the plan can be for 15 years. But the more clear the plan is, the more easier for us to do to achieve the target. So this is all from my side. I'm sorry I couldn't attend you in person because a few days back my mother expired and I committed to speak on this occasion. So I don't want to cancel this. But I'm really very sorry and feeling bad that I couldn't attend you in person. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Sarjeet. Despite being in a governing mode and coming to this speaks a lot about your commitment to the higher education. We thank you and we share your pain and sorrow. Hope that your mother's will be rest in peace. We pray for that. Thank you very much. pointed presentation. So I will be inviting Dr. Said Himanshu Shadeer to make his presentation. The topic is innovation in language learning, curriculum for higher education, technical study of NEP 2020. I hope we will stick to 5 minutes time. Dr. Said.
Respected guests on the dais, my dear colleagues and students, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to all of you. The title of my presentation is Innovations in Language Learning Curriculum, a Critical Study of NEP 2020. So, when we talk about the language learning in NEP, which is quite similar to this CBCS, is that we are supposed to teach 2 languages to the students, to the new entrants in the higher education. The first thing is that, say for example, as per Kashmir University, and that's kind of followed by throughout India, we usually teach communication skills, that's English as one of the languages, and then we teach modern Indian language, that is any other language like Urdu, Hindi, Punjabi, Kashmiri as one other language. When we talk about the, can I have a slide change? Another one. Slide change. Okay. Now we see the overview of the syllabus. Now here we have the syllabus of the English communication skills. We teach interviews, group discussions, presentation skills, basic writing skills, letter writing, report writing, etc. Now this is when we talk about English communication skills. But if you see the syllabi of other languages, I mean Urdu, Hindi, English, Kashmiri, you will see that the language pattern is very similar. So for example, if we teach letter writing in English, we also teach letter writing in Urdu. Or if we teach the basic communication or the basic language skills in English, we teach the same language skills in other language. And can I have the slide? Okay. Another. Now see here, the problem is that we basically teach similar language framework in 2 or 3 different languages. We do not depart from the language curriculum of school education. That's very important. If you see check the syllabi of, I was just going to the syllabus of English, Urdu, Hindi and Kashmiri, the Kashmir University has prescribed for NEP 2020, you will see that the syllabi is very similar to what we teach in 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th standard. And another thing is that our language syllabi do not cater to the need for advanced learning. Advanced learning, say for example, writing for research, writing for writing fiction, writing for scientific purposes. This is not taken in by so what happens is that our language curriculum does not take does not cater to the need of advanced language learning. Now, before coming to the solution, what really is the problem, to issue to the problem, we have to understand the language competence of our entrants. I mean, the students who are coming to us. First of all, we have to understand that when students come to the college, they are acquainted with 2 or 3 languages, with communication competence in at least 2 languages. And the level of the competence depends usually and mostly on the school background they come from. And another important thing that we do not really take care of is that the marks they get in 10th and 12th class in their language paper do not reflect their competence, always. I mean, not majority of the time they do not reflect. I have seen students getting 90% marks in Urdu who cannot read a piece of, a page in Urdu or cannot even write it. So that is something that we have to understand. So how do we overcome these problems? First of all, we need to, it is, like proposal, kind of the solution I'm trying to give, that we should teach, as usual, two languages. I mean, two languages we teach, English and Northern Indian language. But we should teach one language as a basic course and second language as an advanced course. And learning outcomes of the two courses we teach, basic and advanced, should be entirely different. Now say for example, if a student takes basic course in English, I mean L1 English, students should not be allowed to take the same course, I mean similar course in other language. Students should take an advanced course in other language. Say like this, if you can see this, the proposed language structure I've given here. Now, I've given basic, advanced 1, advanced 2, advanced 3. Now these are choices to the students, given that NEP gives a lot of choice, CBCS gives a lot of choice. Now see for example, if a student takes English communication skills as a basic course, the same student can take, say, fiction writing in Kashmiri, research writing in Hindi, film script writing in Urdu as the advanced course. Or if a student is well versed in English language because his background is from an English medium school, the student can take an introductory course in Kashmiri language as the basic course, and then the student can take, business English or writing for research or basic scientific writing as an advanced course. Now, learning outcomes of the basic course and the learning outcomes of the advanced course of whatever language you take should be different. Now, these learning outcomes I've taken from the learning outcome-based curriculum framework that was developed by GDC and made public in 2019. These are from there. So, learning outcomes of the basic language course should be communication skills, creative use of subject knowledge in professional field, professional skills and employability options, personal growth and awareness. Now, when it comes to the advanced course in language I'm talking about, the second language, L2, it should be a soft skill for academic and professional development, a career option on completion of graduate program. So, for example, I'm talking about the script writing in any language. So, that is a career option. Systematic knowledge in the field. Now, we can also do one thing, we can customize the advanced course. Say, for example, if we are offering business communication as an advanced course in a language, we can give it to management students. If some students, because in the NEP we have 3+1, that means, honors program of research, students who have knack for research, they can take scientific writing for researchers or academic writing for researchers as one of the compulsory language courses, the advanced language course. Similarly, media students can take film, drama, script writing as an advanced course, or translation, creative writing for literature students. So this is the kind of thing that we can customize, but at the same time, there's freedom. Say, for example, 2 days back, a girl from Autonomy department came to our department because she wanted help from us. She wants to publish a book on poetry. She has just an entrance into this college. So that is what NME provides. So conclusion. So what really I want to talk here, the language should not be a mere appendage, but a structured part of the curriculum. What happens when we give basic language courses, when we offer only basic language courses in 2 languages, students feel that we already know these things from the school. So there's no need to attend classes, there's no need to take this language course seriously. But if we have an advanced course, students will have to work that, and students will have to, take it very seriously. Number second, language learning should be treated both as a soft skill and a hard skill. Now, soft skill, we know language, we always know language is a soft skill because, it improves your job employability when it comes to, seeking a job. But as a hard skill I'm talking about is that a student can, take it as a career, say script writing, novel writing, or writing for journalism. This is something that we hope that these things, as an autonomous college, we're able to develop syllabus in such a way so we can provide 2 courses, basic and advanced courses in language learning, and help our students in, overall development. Thank you very much.
consider initiated by GDC Baramulla. We have the most beneficial and immediate possible. Second Chairman and other my presentation, the information in education, is just a humble effort as a teacher to understand and step-by-step very successful implementation at the grassroots level. Can you change the slide, please?
Madam, tell them that.
Well, the Council of Climate Technicians and the Economic Society is brought in. So, while just thinking about the 2020, the question that came to my mind, what made Government of India and the policy makers to think about the transformation in the education system? And this dates back July 3, 2014, when Honorable Supreme Court of India made two notable observations. And those two notable observations regarding our education system was that today's education system failed to reform human behavior and the increase in the literacy level, there's decline in human values in the society. Being the important stakeholders over here in field academicians, as we are in the direct contemporary communication with the youth of the society, I think we are in agreement with these notable observations that there is a decline in human values in the society that does not correlate with the percentage of literacy right of the in the country atmosphere. Hence, time for transformation in education system was evident. As we all know, the first education policy of India was passed and implemented in 1986, and after a gap of 34 years, the new policy, that's NEP 2020, has been updated, revised, and improved finally by 2020 and 20. As yesterday, Professor Sharma was here and he was sharing his experience, how the rough road was there, the tough moments were there. He has been to the government college, he has been to the private colleges where he has interacted with the students. And so it took them, it's a work of 6 years where they have consultation with different, the different academicians, thousands of the syllabus members and students. And finally, we can say that it isn't a theoretic effort, it is high aspiration. This education system is considered as a huge milestone for India's education system, and the expectations are that this is certainly going to make India as an attractive global destination for higher education, that is restoring its role as a major group. So, the aim of the goal of this MBA is beyond the creation of the geographic opportunities for the individual employment. The aim of this NEP 2020 policy is the holistic development of our students so that they are capable of rational thoughts and action, possessing a compassion and empathy, courage and reciting, having the scientific temper and creative imagination. As we all know that there are different dimensions of this NEP 2020, I'll be just giving a briefly touching what does the reformation in higher education means at the global level. As I said, that the expectations are that this is going to make India the global hub for the education. Therefore, the emphasis is the NEP 2020 emphasizes systematic
implement institutional improvements to regulation, governance, and promotion of multidisciplinary academics and research in Indian higher education institute. This has been deliberated very nicely since yesterday. So, but in order to meet these expectations, all of us as a faculty, we have the different challenges and we have to overcome those challenges. The fair challenge, there are n number of challenges we are having, but I have just mentioned few of them. The fragmented higher education system, poor learning outcomes and development of cognitive skills of students, rigid, inflexible separation of the industry, and many, many more. As I said that this is a potential field where India is going to lead, and first so that we can deliver with equity and high quality education. But that's why the policy intends to take the complete overhaul. And the thrust is the end fragmentation of the higher education system. This is also one of the core components that is going to rejuvenate the higher education system. And end of the fragmentation of the higher education means they're going to transform into the multidisciplinary universities, colleges, and knowledge hubs. And new and existing HEIs will evolve into 3 distinct categories: research universities, teaching universities, autonomous degree granting colleges. And role of these institutes is going to be beyond research and teaching. Internationalization. We talked yesterday, we have been talking about the academic bank credits. We're living in a global village and mobility of the students from India and to has been increasing. And this, the concept of the academic bank credit is news for such students. And because it is in place in many developed universities where our students wish to go and have a good degrees, and because of this, it has a potential to go international. This concept is going to make India the international. Make the education at par with the international institutions. It means the credit it means the credit transfer and the agreement is similar for the students and the higher education institutes across the globe. They will not be finding difficulty in accepting our students at any point of their education journey. Internationalization at home. I guess there are many students in the hall who will be in the 6th semester and they will be dreaming of having this degrees or the postgraduate degrees from Stanford University of US, Princeton. But definitely the practical problem is the finance. But because of this, on the internationalization at home, the reformation in the NEP 2020 policy, because of that, top 100 universities across the globe will be allowed to set up their campuses in India. And this thing is, and foreign universities will be given special dispensation regarding the regulatory governance and content norms on par with autonomous institutions of the India. And this is how India is going to provide the education of the international standard at affordable prices and restoring its role as a Vishwaguru. This is what the top academicians across the globe is expecting from this NEP. I have just taken the news item from the Economic Times where the Vice Chancellor of the University of Melbourne is quoting that India's new education policy has given a license to innovate to foreign universities. So, dear friends, the dignitaries, I see the conclusion is a historic step. Let's welcome it for the betterment of the humanity as a whole. Thank you so much.
chairperson, principal of the college, my senior faculty members and colleagues, a very good afternoon to all of you. It is always good to come back to your first place of posting, and I am happy to be here. Presently, I am at Islamic College of Science and Commerce, and I shall be talking on outcome-based curriculum design vis-a-vis NEP 2020, and my presentation is empirical based. So what is outcome-based education? It is goal-oriented education where we have predefined goals. We have set the goal first and then we have to achieve it. So we have a predefined goal. So if I am presenting here, if you are delivering a lecture, if we have this conference, so we have predetermined goals. So I will be talking about the goals of this talk. After this talk, we should be able to distinguish between objectives and outcomes, draw proper outcomes, and then I will be presenting 2 case studies where we shall learn about the learning outcomes and outcome-based assessment design. So can anyone tell me who introduced this outcome-based assessment, outcome-based education? It was William Spady. He gave this concept in 1988. It was published in Harvard in 1993. It was adopted, he published a book in 2018, and UGC adopted this in 2018, and our higher education, it also adopted this curriculum-based framework in 2018. Then till March 2019, we had a lot of workshops and lot of seminars on the topic to make our faculty members aware of this curriculum-based learning outcomes-based curriculum framework. So why do we need outcome-based curriculum? So if we talk about this national education policy, the word learning outcomes is 19 times repeated. If I talk about outcomes alone, it is 40 times repeated. So everything has to be outcome-based. What is the product which I will get after teaching, after learning? So it is focused on what students can do after completing a course or a program, and it is student-centric. Whole thing lies with the students. It empowers students to choose what they would like to study and how they will study. So what is OBE framework? If we see the steps, first we have to identify the desired outcome. If I am giving students a course, I have to identify what they will achieve after the course. So I have to identify desired outcomes. Then I have to design outcome-based curriculum in tune with my identifications. Then I have to adopt a proper teaching learning process. It is not now traditional teaching learning. While we were giving a monologue, it is a multi-log now. We have to switch to Philip mode. We have to do discussions, round tables, and so on. And then we have to design assessment which will measure the attainment of the goals. So this is the OBE framework. And again here, I have shown this thing in the form of steps. Why we have got these 4 steps? It is not working. So this is the OBE framework, identification. Then we have to design the curriculum, adopt the teaching learning process, and then design assessment which will check the attainment of the goals. Now what is role of the teacher? Teacher is here a co-learner. And he has role of a facilitator and a mentor. Teacher has to create opportunities. He has to come with questions, with thought-provoking, critical questions, so as to develop application and problem-solving skill, which will promote higher order of application, analysis, and synthesis according to Bloom's. So we have to go for higher order. We don't have to check for remembrance. Then, second, this outcome of this talk, I said that we should be able to distinguish between the learning objectives and the learning outcome. So learning objective is the teacher's purpose of creating and teaching their course. What is the purpose of teacher? And these are specific questions. These are the inputs which the course wants to raise. And if we talk about learning outcomes, what are these? These are the answers to these questions. These are the output, what the student will get. And these are specific. If I go to driving school, I will learn driving. I will not be able to fly an aeroplane. Measurable, I should be able to drive a car on a road. And then skill, that the learner has gained by taking this course. Again, learning objectives, they are viewed from teacher's perspective. What the teacher wants to accomplish. While as, if I talk about objectives, it is what the course will teach him as a learner. So learning outcomes, they should be specific. They should be well defined. They should be achievable. They should be measurable. That means these should be smart. These should be smart. Then how do we draw learning outcomes? First, we have to identify important learning requirements, design learning outcomes based curriculum, which we have been doing since 2018. Then, when we write these learning outcomes, they have to be written in future tense. And we have to use the language which the students can understand, and we have to use appropriate verbs. And here is the list of the verbs which are acceptable and which are not acceptable. Acceptable to draw, to distinguish, to analyze, to critically appraise, to synthesize, develop, and to think innovative. Higher order, if we see this last, this is higher order. Then unacceptable is, if we, to know, to understand, to appreciate, to enjoy, to believe, we say to understand the structure. We can't measure the understanding. So this verb, it has to be avoided in the learning outcome. And all this, it is in sync with the Bloom's taxonomy. If we are talking about the competition, we are going for synthesis, we are going for evaluation. If I ask, what do you understand? I don't, that is only knowledge, that is the lower level. Then I am going to present two case studies here. This is the syllabus of the biomolecules of semester 1 biotechnology. And I could see here we have got good faculty members from life sciences. So I will read the objectives and the outcomes. So if we read these objectives, this course is aimed to introduce students to the concepts of life through the coordination of different biomolecules. Now if I go to the outcome, see outcome. Understanding structure classification, I can't measure understanding. So it has to be reframed. Then second, again, understanding of nature, classification, mode of action of enzymes. Again, I can't measure. Then third one, hands-on training. This is the skill the students will learn in the lab. But first and second, you will all agree with me, they are to be reframed. We can't measure understanding. I have no parameter to measure understanding. Then if I go to this syllabus, again same syllabus, biomolecules, objective is to introduce students to basic concept of biomolecules. Now see the outcomes here. The students will be, future tense, distinguish between biomolecules. So it goes to comprehension level, the second level in the Bloom's taxonomy. Prepare buffers and solutions. It is synthesis. They should be able to see how much weight, how much pH, how much normality, and then again detect biomolecules, again analysis, going to higher level, and then handle different lab instruments. So this is better drawn as compared to the first one. 2 minutes. Then this is the syllabus we have drawn of the same course at Islamia College. So objective first is understanding pH, PI about buffers, give an understanding of enzymes, learn about carbohydrates, their structure, classification, and then last one is learn about lipids. Now if we go to the outcomes, students should be able to measure pH, make buffers, distinguish between different types. So it involves all what is in the Bloom's taxonomy and both. If we start from the second level, that is comprehension. Then predict the effect, it is analysis. Then draw the structure. Again, this is the second level. And then distinguish and point out different steps. So we have to see our syllabi, our course content, our objectives and the outcomes according to this. And then I have outcome-based assessment. I will be presenting this. This is a paper of the same course, that is biomolecules. So if we see the questions in first 8 questions, Write a note on. How does, what are, write a note on. You see there are 3 questions which are write a note on. What it checks? It checks only rote memory. No concept checking. So we have to change. As the teachers, we have a bigger role now. We have to change ourselves. We have to be innovative in assessment as well, as Pirzada sir was talking about. Then again the same thing. He has, the paper setter, he has simply copied the questions, he has simply copied the syllabus contents. And taking suggestion from the former controller, I wrote a letter to controller of examinations that this paper setter, he should be blacklisted. He has only copied the contents. He has not spent time while designing this paper. So whenever we are giving the responsibility of setting the papers, we have to give it time. Paper setting is not an easy job. We don't have to copy the contents from the syllabus. And then if you see about this paper, at least 4 questions out of 8, they ask reason, they ask why, they ask application-based questions. So it is good. Here we will not check memory, we will check the concept of the students. And then teachers have a challenging role now, and they have a huge responsibility. And today in GK, I will, everyone suggests that to go to GK. There is an article on implementation of NEP 2020 by our 3 former college principals, where they have given a 3-dimensional model. It discusses about learning objectives, outcomes, about the methodology of teaching and learning, and about outcome-based assessment. At least we should read that. Then this is what happened. If we are not taking this role, this is what the Chief Justice of India said on 20th August. We are creating just factories of education which are causing devaluation of human resources. So when a student completes a degree, he is not able to face the real challenges, because the syllabus or the teaching learning process or the assessment, it was not outcome based. So we have to take this responsibility and work accordingly. And now, since this college it is organizing this national conference, college is autonomous now, and they do have the challenge and the reforms, which I want to just put forth. First, by this time, the college should have academic council in place, board of studies. Now, who will be the members of board of studies? It is not only academia. We should have people, practitioners. If we have commerce department, let us get a CA, chartered accountant. Let us get AO, who is practicing. Let us get some practicing advocate who is practicing this. Why not involve alumni? And alumni can also help in revenue generation. If you tell them that we want to install this small smart board in a classroom and we will name it after this, so you are generating revenue also, and they are the stakeholders. Then we have to develop, since you have autonomy, we can develop our own curriculum. Then we can develop outcome-based curriculum. Design outcome-based assessment. Why to adopt statutes or examination regulations from any other university? Why can't we develop our own? Why can't we have panel of examiners well ahead of taking the examination? Panel of examiners, panel of evaluators, which include both external as well as internal. And get papers set by external subject experts. At least if in a course we have 4 papers, get 2 papers set by external. And then that will add to the authenticity of the process. And I will end by this. The function of education is to teach one to think intensely and to think critically. Said by Martin Luther King. Thank you.
We have taken care of that, what you have expressed. We are working on it. Inshallah, results will be in the right way.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you. Very thought-provoking presentation. And it is imperative now. Every teacher, every college has to distribute the learning objectives of all the courses. Even for chapters, for units, you have to give the outcomes. What are the outcomes of the teaching modality? So they expect outcomes that are there. And in your next discussion also, they ask you whether you have put it on your website, whether you communicate to the students what are the learning outcomes of this program. You are getting BSc, BA,
outcome. And within that, the program, the talks here, whatever they are. So they are to be now to be part and parcel of this curriculum. So thank you for giving this lecture. Now we have some pending. Yesterday, two brothers, I will invite Mr. Lewis Amador in speaking on teaching, learning, development, and and institutions. 5 minutes up for you. We have to go another program.
Very good afternoon to all of you. It is my privilege to present my paper entitled as Teaching, Learning, Reforming the New Autonomy 2020. Teachers truly shape the future of our children, therefore the future of our nation. It is because of this noblest role that the teacher in India are the most respected member of society. Only the very best and the most learned become teachers. Society gave teachers or gurus what they are needed to pass on their knowledge, skills, attitudes, performance, the quality of teacher education, recruitment, development, service pension, empowerment of teachers is not only where it should be, as constantly the quality and motivation of teachers does not reach their desired standards. The high respect for teachers and the high status of teaching profession must be restored so as to inspire the best to enter the teaching profession. The motivation and empowerment of teachers is required to ensure the best possible future of our children to our nation. My dear students, as you know that this new educational policy has begun in 2020. The name of this policy is इसको बोल सकते हैं न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी भी हम इसको बोल सकते हैं जो एक हमारे महान देश इंडिया में जिसका हम बहुत सालों से इंतजार कर रहे थे कि ये पॉलिसी हमारे पास आ जाए क्योंकि इस पॉलिसी की जरूरत थी हमारी नेशन को और एक महान जो हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर है मोदी जी को इसने इस पर काम किया बहुत है मेरा भी बचपन में फोकस था कि ऐसी पॉलिसी जरूर से आ जाए क्योंकि अगर हम यहाँ पर हमारा शॉर्टेज ऑफ टाइम आई विल हैव short reviews here that what the new education हमें पहले समझना है एजुकेशन का मकसद क्या है क्योंकि हमारा जो और एक अजीब लीडर है हमारे मुल्क में महात्मा गांधी जी उसने किसी ने बोला है एजुकेशन क्या है एजुकेशन सॉइल ऑफ द बेस्ट इन द बॉडी माइंड एंड सोल सो यहाँ पर फिर मैंने जब एक डिफिनेशन देखी एक बचपन में उसको बोलते तो यहाँ से है जर्मनी से उसने एडमिशन प्रोग्राम उसको बोला गया एजुकेशन क्या है तो उसने बोला है एजुकेशन अनफोल्डमेंट ऑफ व्हाट इज ऑलरेडी अनफोल्डेड मींस दैट यहाँ से क्लियर होता है कि जो भी पोटेंशियलिटीज है जो भी कैपेसिटीज है जो भी इंटरेस्ट है साइकोलॉजी ने प्रूव किया है बच्चे में टैक्स होते हैं तो ये सारे मौजूद होते हैं काउंटेबल अब काम क्या है कि हम इसका मेन कर रहे हैं ऐसी पॉलिसी आ जाए क्योंकि आप यहाँ पर शॉर्टेज ऑफ टाइम में बात यहाँ पर है कि अगर हम न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का पीडीएफ देखेंगे वो 60 पेजेस पर है उसमें चैप्टर 5 पर टीचर रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन है कि टीचर कैसा होना चाहिए उसको क्या करना चाहिए रिक्रूटमेंट का होना चाहिए उसका क्वालिफिकेशन स्किल क्या होना चाहिए टीचिंग प्रोफेशन में आने के लिए और वो चैप्टर 5 है फिर हम दिखाते हैं चैप्टर नंबर 15 वहां पर आपको मिलेगा टीचर एजुकेशन एज यू नो इट इज अ न्यू सब्जेक्ट टीचर एजुकेशन यहां पर टीचर को आता है कि जब आप क्लास में जाओगे आपके पास स्किल्स को क्या होने चाहिए न्यू प्रोग्राम ओरिएंटेशन रेफरेंस पोर्शन टाइम पर ये प्रोग्राम किस टीचर के लिए वो टीचर एजुकेशन किस टीचर के लिए फॉर्म करता है दैट इज टीचर एजुकेशन फिर हम जाते हैं और एक चैप्टर में इसी पॉलिसी में आप जाओगे चैप्टर नंबर 4 वहां पर मिलेगा आपको पेडागॉजी मेरा फोकस भी पेडागॉजी है क्योंकि पहले तो मैं मालूम था हूं कि ऐसी ग्रेट पर्सनालिटी मेरे सामने है जिन्होंने पढ़ाया है हमने क्या लोग बच्चा पढ़ाएगा आपके सामने तो लोग कैसे हमारे प्रेसिडेंट जिस तरह से शिफ्ट हुआ है इस पॉलिसी के जरिए जैसे कि आपको 1986 में पॉलिसी थी 10+2 शॉर्ट में समझाया है यहाँ पर 5+3+3+4 स्ट्रक्चर फिर हायर एजुकेशन में 3+1 3+2 एंड सो ऑन तो यहाँ पर जो मेन फोकस है चैप्टर नंबर 4 है आपका पेडागॉजी मेरा फोकस वही है पेडागॉजी पर मेरा चैप्टर नंबर 5 से नीचे है टीचर कैसा होना चाहिए डेवलपमेंट है कौन से क्वालिटीज होना चाहिए उस पर है टीचर पर हमने बोला है अनफोल्डमेंट ऑफ इस्लामिक अनफोल्डिंग, बच्चे में छुपा है वो खजाना, हाउ कैन यू अनफोल्ड दैट? किस तरह से आप उसको निकालो, जिसको निकालो किस तरह आप करोगे? आपको वो जो भी कोई एजुकेशन जिससे है उसने बोला है ये ट्रेड छुपा है बच्चे में, ठीक है? काम उसको निकालना, उसको ग्रो करना, डेवलप करना। अगर अर्ली पॉलिसी को देखेंगे, अर्ली पॉलिसी में आप लोग देखेंगे दैट एंशिएंट पीरियड में रैंकिंग सिस्टम, बुद्धिस्ट पीरियड, मुस्लिम एजुकेशन, वहां पर आपको क्लियर मिलेगा कि हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम क्या था। गुरुकुल सिस्टम था वैदिक में, अंदर के ट्रीज बनाते थे, इतना मॉडर्नाइजेशन नहीं था, स्मार्ट बोर्ड्स नहीं थे, मगर टीचर्स इस तरह से ग्राउंड में फिर शुरू हुआ बुद्धिस्ट में, वहां पर आपको देखते हैं हायर लर्निंग के कॉन्सेप्ट्स मिलते हैं, कैसा लर्निंग का सारी यूनिवर्सिटी मिलेगी जहां पर आपको यहाँ पर टीचर बनाने के ट्रांसफर होगी वर्क होगा। उसके बाद आप देखो वहां पर जब ब्रिटिश पीरियड में आ गए, मकाबरीज में 1834 उसने क्या बोला है, इंग्लिश पर किया है। इसी तरह से यहाँ पर आपको मिलेगा जो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है, जहाँ पर अभी यहाँ पर मुझे बोलना था मेरा टॉपिक टीचिंग लर्निंग रिफॉर्म इन व्यू ऑफ टीचिंग इन एनपी 2020 because of Karnataka fact I cannot understand this whole concept that what is teaching, it is education that हम बोलते हैं bring out, यहाँ पर ये बच्चे में है ना bring out, तो यहाँ पर teaching क्या होता है, methodology of making something known to others, that is teaching, methodology of making something known to others, कौन से वापस लेकर, कौन सा सामान लेकर, प्रत्याश लेकर आप क्लास में जाओगे, बच्चे को understand करोगे, that is teaching, क्योंकि वो नहीं करता आप लेते हैं, दूसरी बात को आता है, क्योंकि टाइम कम है, learning modification of behavior through experience, बट क्योंकि टीचर को करना है, learning स्टूडेंट को करना है, learning is dealing with the students, how can you do more opportunity to the students so that you will get more and more understanding that critical thinking, cognitive thinking, reflective thinking, abstract thinking, ये चीजें knowledge, comprehension, understanding, ये चीजें आप जाकर जाओ, methodology अप्लाई करो, pedagogy means पहले जमाने में memory method था, इसी तरह से और method था, आजकल के जमाने में problem solving method, project method, learning by doing method, experimental method, and that is experiential method is one of the important methodology of the हमारे अजीम लीडर महात्मा गांधी जी ने कहा था एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग दैट इज बेसिक नॉलेज मदर टंग दैट इज यूनिवर्सल एजुकेशन फॉर थैंक यू
That is called as a professional commitment teacher
when they recruited the teacher on the basis of there should be certain tests that is called the teacher eligibility test. It is now mandatory as per the guideline of NCT, as per the guideline of NEP 2020, the recruitment of the teacher should qualify the test that is called the CTET test, that is called the both central as well as state level teacher eligibility test. If we talk about the NEP 2020, they talk about the standards of teacher education institutions. So they provide the national professional standard of teachers. So these are the regulatory bodies for monitoring the teacher education institutions, for the prepare the teacher in the deadline. If we talk about the national preferences in the past era due to the mushrooming growth of real colleges, but there is not any kind of supervision as well as monitoring in the process of these colleges, but NPST, with the guidance of NCT, there is a regulatory bodies on the basis of to stop this commercialization of the teacher education. So it comes under the professional setting bodies with the consultations of NCRT as well as SCRT and different institutions in the within the district as well as talk about the thinking in the teacher education process, a call for the paradigm shift in the teaching learning process. That is, call as teacher have to evaluate these training from the ODLs, open distance learning, as well as they can use the different blending mode of teaching like Swayam platform is also, National Institute of Open Schooling is also provide the training of the teachers in the training packages, so that if we talk about higher education, so that the teachers have a mandatory to get track hours, so that how much they are hours in the CPD, that is continuous professional development, on the basis of that, how much they are hours in the basis of these CPD programs, so it will develop the professional pedagogies in the novel areas. So what is the paradigm shift in the teacher education? So it is that first point is that traditional classroom towards the modern IT enabled classroom. It is the first paradigm shift. As per the second point is that this shift envisages incorporated the education system traditional concept. As per the Alison King, they talk about the sage on the stage and guide on the side, because if we talk about the new innovative trends in the education system, that is based on constructivism, that is based on the collaborative learning, that is based on the TM teaching, that is based on the cooperative learning. It is based on the new vistas of knowledges, so that as per the Sam Patroid, that the new National Knowledge Commission, they talk about India is a demographic country. There is a young aging country. 25 million population of the youth is in that age group, so that we can utilize in the better way. And third point is that our education system, it should be based on learning outcomes, so that learning out connecting the teaching with that is based focused in the specific areas of the skills, like if we talk about the competency in the knowledge as well as transaction, as well use their ICT gadgets. If we talk about these curriculum is also shifted. If we talk about the paradigm shift, that is child-centered curriculum. It is totally learner-centered curriculum. That is based on flexibility. That is based on the dynamic in nature. And another point is that these focus on mother tongue in elementary education, so that they have know the concept very well. And last point is that for the call of paradigm shift, so the collaborative approach in developing the suitable curriculum that is based on regional languages, so that students have in-depth understanding of that subject. So this is for the concern of this national rethinking of teacher education.
It does not only focus teacher education for years and academics. after now, you can have 1 year BA, you can have 2 year BA, and then 3 years. It can be a blended type. So, I think the government is taking a call on how to reform this. And all those private BA colleges will be required to train about 25 lakh teachers of the train. And all those government teachers and in future, all teachers, all those who are aspirants of becoming a teacher, they will have necessarily to be with FDA. They should be trained teachers. They can only go to the school. Therefore, I see that these abandoned BEd colleges have a future in this NEP 2020. With these words, we thank everybody who has participated, who has presented here, and we thank our students also who gave a patient listening to hearing to this presentation, to the presentation made here. I would like to ask the coordinator to wrap up the proceedings of this technical session.
So, thank you very much for this movie. I just request yourself that this has been a long day of presentations of knowledge sharing. At the end of the session, this session will be incomplete without acknowledging the chairperson who being busy as ensure to be part of this function and stay with us to grace this occasion. I request Principal Dr. Mohan Farooq sir to kindly acknowledge the chairperson by presenting him a gift of love, a memento to Dr. Zara.
So this is our indigenous product.
Thank you very much, sir. I also had co-chairman of the session, Professor Raj sir, for being co-chairman of the proceedings and being the host of course. So thank you very much. Thank you to all the participants, all the students and faculty members who made this event successful one. I request Dr. Madam kindly take over the charge for the decision.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that the technical proceedings of these sessions have been very useful for the purpose of the government. Now, there have been many requests from the students that they want to ask certain questions to the regular guests on the podium and the invited speakers. So we will be taking 4 to 5 queries till we are prepared to prepare the panel for the panel discussion and frame the recommendations of the conference. So can we have this is there any student who wants to ask any question? Yes. Please introduce yourself, your semester, and you can ask questions. You can come. You can come to the stage. Come here.
Come here.
You can come to the stage and ask questions. I pay homage to all the dignitaries present over here. We have been listening to you since yesterday very sensibly, and as all of you have been enlightening the advantages of this very topic of autonomy given to our college. So there are some queries, I rather say challenges popping up back in my mind from yesterday. I want you to address those issues. I hope you will be responding very clearly. So there's this thing, as all of you said, the institution will be given this, they'll be able to make their own rules and regulations. So and they'll be unbound of the rules and regulations of the university environment, right? So they can make the fee structure. What if they make the fee structure insane, which may prove, high to common people? So the generation, I would like to address the generation of such a confused student where you don't have the modesty to some of the courage and confidence to confront these incidents at the very time when they happen. So, as the second query, so I feel like the worst one. But if we talk about the corruption, it wouldn't be a big deal. Where isn't it present nowadays? So what if they give the donation seats, if they are giving this, they can make their own rules and regulations. What if they make these donation seats and use it for the good ranking students? It can make a difference, but not instead of not profit. And so what if they make some rules which prove disturbing for the students? What will do at that time? So these things, and so our concerned teachers have been continuously telling us about the attendance. The institute will be ridiculously strict about the attendance, which would lead to department of exams. So that's it.
Let Principal Sir take the question on fee structure first. Principal Sir, sir.
So far, this structure is concerned, it is not the college, even if it is autonomous, to decide what should be the fee structure. It is the higher education and the common ground that is being developed by university of all the universities of India. I mean, cluster universities, cluster university, Global, Kashmir University, Jammu University. So nothing is cloud so far fee structure is concerned. So for that matter, we are bound to follow this instructions from higher. What was the next question?
अगर आपको कुछ सीट्स क्रिएट करने पड़े जो पेमेंट सीट्स उसमें आप
Yes, there is possibility, but this year we are not going to do it. We are going to totally follow Kashmir University pattern because it was too late for we people to have that kind of structure. Inshallah, next year onwards, there will be payment seats, not for all the subjects, but for those subjects where the demand is very, very high. Because we are having here several subjects where the intensity or the demand is very, very high. I'm talking about certain science subjects, certain professional courses. Here we are going to have payment seats. Thank you.
Now, I will request Professor to please take all the proceedings for the panel discussion. So what we will do in the panel discussion is that we will seek recommendations and the remarks of the expert panel on the ground and report them forward to higher education for further clearance and further explanation on the site as we look forward. They can also through the institution and which like where we are accountable and where we are not accountable to them. So kindly take over the proceedings for panel discussion for the next 30 to 40 minutes. And yes, we are only 30 to 40 minutes. We will be sticking to the time so that we can finish all the proceedings of the conference today on time.
Just the question. question that about corruption. I hope that laws are while getting on the issue properly. We will also ensure that while making these seats, the merit will be the criteria for putting those payment seats. So there will be any issue about it.
I would also like to make all the admission process in a very transparent way. All these are updated to the website and they are in public domain. At the time they are made, they are in the public domain. Any of you who feel that there is any kind of discrepancy, you are always welcome to report. This is not.
We can start the next session. Dr. Manal will record the soft forms so that you have validity and have a look at the recommendations and take forward.
Can we have the mic here?
Mic.
The mic. Mic.
Thank you very much. Now we are in the last, it is not of course the technical session, but this technical session because we have to frame out the recommendations that have emerged over the technical sessions taking place yesterday and today. And we have a huge number of eminent scholars who have to be part of this panel discussion for this technical session. They are the monkeys or the adults. Many of them are not present here. All of us are present, Professor John Kuru, Tariq Saab, Yusuf Saab, Dr. R.P. Baruch Saab, and many others are also present. And you also have been the participant in the sense that you were not only the audience, you were actively participating in the rules of the discussions. And therefore, for all the 4 areas that we have discussed over the last 2 days, we have frame out the recommendations which will go to the concerned authorities for the purpose of implementation. Of course, after the concluding the technical sessions or the conference or the seminar, something should come out of the discussions that will take place. And therefore, we have been participating and discussing the various issues during the course of the technical sessions. Let's invite the resource persons who are active in taking part in various sessions to just come out with the recommendation part in each of the areas that we have discussed over the past 4 sessions, technical sessions. We have 4 technical sessions. So I will request Bill Sir, he has been the chairing the session, technical session, this technical session. Let him come out with the recommendation part. And likewise, others who will actually act as the chairman or the invited speakers or the speakers, let them also come with their set of recommendations that will become the part of this recommendation to go to the customer to answer.
So we'll be taking one or two recommendations from each of the participants and the delegates. We'll be taking one or two recommendations from each and all the recommendations from the chairman who was chairing the technical session. The participants, most of the participants are present here, so we'll be taking, and other than that, we will take recommendations from the faculty who is present here and the students.
But what I would suggest is that since the theme of the conference is different, NEP vis-a-vis autonomy, I think as a chairman of this panel, I would request to come up with a recommendation with regard to NEP's application vis-a-vis autonomy. We talked about relevant fields like outcome-based education, outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based. We talked about the pedagogy. These are definitely the part of the NEP. But today the focal theme of the conference is NEP vis-a-vis autonomy. Let each of you come out with a recommendation with regard to NEP that has been proposed by NEP that we have to implement once we are given the grant the autonomous status. So I would not like to take up those other recommendations which are not relevant to the focal theme. Please keep this in your mind.
With the not happening for the first time on this earth. Education has been happening, and those people who have been framing the policies from time to time have been the people very live to the contemporary problems and the future of this human civilization. As far as new education policy goes, I would suggest to the panel of esteemed guests, Dr. R.T. is there, Vadi Principal is there, Chairman of the Dr. Pila is there, Dr. Sarsab is there. Then let's only talk about the differential of new education policy vis-a-vis the previous policies which have been prevailing. We are not teaching and learning for the first time on the earth. So let's not give a hype to the students that something has come which is so gigantic and it's so big. It's not like that. The type of education which we have been imparting in our classrooms will continue to be so. The teacher will continue to be the teacher. Right. The only thing which we are going to make is as some kind of difference to the previously existing things. I have identified certain things and I will say that the forum will put hands up or they will give a voice vote if they feel that this is something which has come up a bit new, otherwise it was already there. The first thing is the differential of NEP. The word differential, it educates my mind to think about a technology which came in 1980. In 1980, people found it very difficult to pump a video into a network on the computer sciences. And a group called as Motion Picture Export Group, what we today call as MPEG, they gave a very simple solution. They said that once you pump a video, it's a sequence of pictures. Why do you repeat a picture every time? Because that is giving a huge pressure on the network. Why don't you send only that data beyond a certain picture which is new in that? So that is previously I am standing in this room or I am sitting in this room. Don't send a picture and again. If I raise my hand, send only this much of data. Don't send the rest. And that became such a huge idea that all the present innovations in videography and the video on the network is because of that MPEG algorithm. Similarly, let's first differentiate that what is new in this policy. My first suggestion would be, sir, this is for us to then get into, if we agree on this. Vocational education and improvement in employability index. Do we agree on this? Vocational education and improvement in employability index. Dr. put it today in the first session, that starts up, that employability earlier was not related to education. We would laugh at those people who would say that we are studying for the jobs. But today, it is now mandatory. We have to make people employable. Second, we were never talking about research at undergraduate, but now we have to talk about research at undergraduate. Do we carry this? Research at undergraduate. We were never talking about setting up an innovation ecosystem in otherwise an academic institution, because innovation was for the industry and for the commercial gains. But today, you have to have an innovator within the college who will innovate, and the manufacturers and industry will manufacture that, what he gives us. Do we agree with that? Then we have the innovations and technologies coming into the classroom. There was a very good brief on Bloom's taxonomy. We have halted on the ladder of just relating what we comprehend and what our rata learning gives us. We have never tried to synthesize knowledge or create knowledge. So we need to make the delvings into the classroom, how you can synthesize the knowledge. Even if it's a small project, a student's project, that is sometimes really a value for the effort which was put into it. And that could someday be a very big change in the industry and in the world outside the classroom. Then we have multilingualism, which was not previously there. Once we enter in the classroom, an English teacher, I have been taught by an English teacher, would divide us from speaking Hindi or Urdu in the English classroom. And we, as the toddlers or people at a very younger age, who were trained to speak only the mother tongue, we would hesitate to ask questions in English. Maybe my English is not good. So that there was a barricade on the knowledge seeking, that I was debarred to speak in a language which was my native language. So multilingualism in the classrooms, do we carry this? Then we have the skill development. You see, the colleges are getting transformed into the welding houses. They are getting transformed into the mason houses. They are getting transformed into the plumber houses.
is this something which should be doable or not? On this, I put it to the panel that we will try to take up recommendations only on those things which are differentiating NEP from the previous schemes. Because let there be no repetition and let the recommendation be very crisp and very clear about the outcome. Thank you.
Is somebody recording it?
Yes, sir, I am recording. You want to have a question?
Recommendation.
Right, sir. Please pass on the mic. ये डॉक्टर साहब एक participant हैं. He has been participant. पहले मैडम, let madam speak. आप let madam speak.
Yeah, so there is much cry about the NEP 2020 and we as NEPA actually deal with this subject. The 86 policy was made in NEPA and I have led 2 stakeholders workshop which I think Dr. Sharma had mentioned yesterday. One was on making the best teacher, the other was on governance in higher education. So I have led 2 stakeholders workshop at ICSR in New Delhi. Right? And since we do policy analysis, we have a department of policy at NEPA. So my takeaways from that entire, us Nobel laureates, a lot of prizes. That also we will do away with by wrong implementation and making the system weak. Thank you.
Please, my pleasure.
You discussed about the differential aspect of learning, and in the differential aspect, you said that teaching has to be there. But you get to neglect to the corresponding role, a call for a corresponding role of the teacher. While from a traditional classroom, he was there with a blackboard or a whiteboard in his class. So a technology-enabled classroom, where he has to learn the skills of using the technological tools in his classroom. And the COVID-19 pandemic, you see, that exposed the whole education system. While the teacher was expected to deliver on an online platform for 2 long years. So there is a call for a corresponding role of the teacher. A teacher has to be there, but a teacher has to have the knowledge of the ICT integration in the education. He has to learn about the LMS, and as per NEP 2020, I had to yesterday discussed about the ICT integration. It calls for enhanced ICT integration in education, because a student now can opt for 40% of the total courses through online platform. So there is a complete transformative role of the teacher, but they have to have the knowledge of what soil means and how to make it done.
This will be one of the recommendations.
Yes, sir.
Capacity building in terms of the IT.
I have a extension. When I say technology in the classroom, your IFD today has the capability of storage, it has the capability of transmission, and it has the capability of recording your video, which will be available for the generations to come then. So that e-content generation goes with the technology in the classroom, right? But that does not subtract the role of teacher. I never said. And there have been evidences at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, advanced learning system was a huge project in billions of American dollars. When machine was given the role of a teacher, it has failed. So teacher continue to be teacher, right? We agree with that.
Next, anybody?
Among students,
Yes,
in case of research, you mentioned that research.
Again, a differential aspect that NEP calls for.
Research at undergraduate.
Yes, sir. Research in colleges.
Yeah.
Research in colleges is not a novel thing, which is true because the outside states, the many states are already offering research programs at the college level, and the faculty is actually involved in guiding the student for their engagement. So, NEP calls for research at undergraduate level. That is a novel thing which needs to be done in the future. So, this statement was, I would tell, this research might already be in the colleges, but not in GDC Baramulla. Thank you very much.
Sometimes we confuse research for a breakthrough. Even if your knowledge is added by an iota, that would be a research. So let's not ask for breakthrough at undergraduate.
I think that we may have to take steps back, and if we go to 2021, higher education department has taken many important initiatives. And all those initiatives are in commensurate with the policy. I think that it was from bottom approach rather than from bottom to top. And हम कहेंगे that our education system in this part of the world is a stable one. It is having those colleges which are only 3 years of age or 4 years. 2019 हमारे 50 colleges. We have some colleges where the structure has been developed, and there are then advanced colleges. The 1941 age college. So while making recommendations, we have the policy itself. The policy says that you have to plan for 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. After 2040, you have to plan. So while planning, you have to make first an assessment what is achievable. At higher education level, the department has a very important role. The department has to make a clear-cut guideline or other the objectives and then follow, monitor those activities are being followed, they are being achievable. Number one, achievable is that there are advanced colleges. granted autonomy on the basis of that they had achieved grade A in the NAC. So, if we give, for example, now we have given autonomy to this college, but this college will be on the radar of the higher education department. The higher education department has to see how can this college continue with autonomy? What are its challenges? So, we have to make a timeline. In next 5 years, this college is going to come to what place? And after 10 years, can this college be a degree awarding college, a multidisciplinary college? What are the requirements for that? How our Department of Higher Education is going to see that all those requirements which are necessary for making it a multidisciplinary degree awarding college at the district level, which is one of the main objectives of the policy. So we have identified this as district level, we will identify another signal level, another Pulwama, we have identified them. So now, you make a timeline. In next 3 years, this college will achieve academic autonomy, and during these 3 years, it will come with curricular changes, with different types of programs that it will be introduced, it will be given full freedom. Thus, it is one recommendation that college is left to itself to make its own programs and action of the program, how they can implement it. Second important point is that if you go again back, the higher education department has again to go back and again to make a big plan that how research was being started in undergraduate college. Our budget was framed as such. There were schemes. Budget was 100 crore. It was for the first time that UT was having in college and university sector 100 crore budget. How was it made? It was channelized into schemes. We had innovation scheme, we had skill scheme, we had vocational scheme, we had then polishing courses scheme, we had digitization as a scheme. These are the parameters within the policy. So without giving a sense that we are implementing the policy, we have taken such initiatives which would ultimately lead us to the implementation. So we have asked the department, we recommend the department that whatever initiatives have been taken in 2021, they need to be taken forward so that all colleges which have been designated as information research centers in hub and spoke model, they are strengthened, their infrastructure is strengthened, their faculty is strengthened, because we have even identified 107 courses for this vocational education. They have to be advertised, they have to be given to the colleges, and linkages between hub and the spoke are to be strengthened. So I think that the department was already in the process of implementation all the initiatives within the policy. Research, how we were making a hub in Baramulla college, and how other colleges were connected with it to promote research at the UG level. So I think that our second recommendation will be that yes, that so I have taken this slide back. Chairman said that recommendation come later. So these are some of the digitization was another initiative, where e-content generation, where classrooms were given to be as almost all colleges were given smart boards, Wi-Fi, everything so that they could make digital education. I would recommend that this curricular modification, as yesterday there was a technical section on that, 40% recommendation of online teaching must be incorporated in this, so that teachers are not overloaded.
Please, who is submitting something? Just a minute. We are the people here who have been talking since yesterday. We have been talking about various provisions that are contained in the HDC 4020, particularly with regard to the autonomy management granted to this institution. Now, all of you have been participating right from yesterday during the course of various discussions. Students have been participating. And I would request all the participants, particularly the students, to come up with their recommendations so that becomes the part of the recommendatory framework that we submit to the concerned. We have some senior colleagues here. They would also be talking and coming up country's recommendations. But firstly, I would request our student participants to come up with their own thoughts with regard to the discussions that have taken place during the course of the technical session since yesterday. Students, please. But be very brief. Very brief recommend. We don't have much of the time left. We have concluded. We'll be coming to you, sir, because you are the senior faculty, our colleague senior faculty. Let us hear first of all from the students. Somebody should take this mic.
My question is that, as rightly said by Mr. Sharma yesterday, that education policy has education policy they mentioned.
Let her come here. Hello, let her come here.
In the meantime, we are joined by Professor Krishna Alwani Sahab, who has been part of the higher education department for over 30 years. I would request Professor Krishna Sahab to come to the dais and be part of us here. Professor Krishna Sahab. But be very precise.
As rightly said by Mr. Sharma yesterday, that education policy has mentioned that not more than 6% is invested on the education sector in India. That is a really matter of concern which should be addressed by everyone. So my question is to the education policy maker, that how will they reach to the government to increase the budget, because I believe that it is important to have every student into the institution rather than have blood trains in the Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata. What do you say? Is it important to have every student in the college or school, or is it important to spend our money on these sectors first? So I want to ask the question to the policy maker, that how will they address, how will they reach to the government to increase the budget on the education sector, so that being a proud member of the Autonomous College, I am concerned about the infrastructure which needs to be funded, and that funds should be provided by the government itself. And until and unless we will not increase the budget for the education sector, it is not possible. So this is my first question. Second question is that we, being a member of the college, I know that our college is ready to tackle all the problems as an administration, as teachers and as the students. But the main and important one is that the government funding which should be provided to the different colleges to be an autonomous college. This is one important and major aspect that should be tackled, and how the education policy makers will reach to the government and will increase the budget on the education sector. That is very important, because national education policy is a funding policy. It should be funded by the government.
Question answer session. She actually referred to the presentation that has been made by Professor Sharma yesterday, when he talked about 6% of the GDP allocation for education sector, as has been promised by the government of India. She is not particularly referring to this college. Please, Principal Sir. She is not in general. This is what has been actually promised by the Union government, the Prime Minister of India also. Maybe in the phased manner, the allocation for education may increase from 3.4% to 6% in the times to come. Now, with regard to this particular, questions, I don't want questions. I want the recommendations. Please, recommendation. What did you actually get out of the discussion that took place over the last 2 days?
6% of GDP was, was a figure that Kuhari Commission talked about, and on the basis of this, the 68 policy was formulated. We have not been able to touch 6%. As of now, we are only 4.2%. And then when this 4.2%
Give the recommendation.
Guidance also here. Sir, Baramulla College is the third college in the granted autonomous status. But the recommendation should go from this platform to the government that such autonomous colleges should be given a special grant for carrying out their research activities. Because there are talented people who have created these postdocs from our different international universities so that they can accept and society as a whole can benefit. And there should be a recommendation that some kind of financial autonomy also should be granted to these colleges so that these colleges will accept not only in J&K but at the national level. Thank you, sir.
Very relevant recommendation. Very relevant recommendation. Please, those who are actually reporting it, please note it. Please record it. And one more, madam,
So
one
these are
more.
going live. I would request that since you know the people and they know, but the people who are watching it live may not know the person, so please introduce yourself.
Yes.
I am principal of the new college, Government Degree College, Gurgaon, and I hail from the Rama district.
Yes, I am Dr. Ram School District. The topic of this seminar is institution autonomy and NEP. As per NEP, every college needs to be autonomous. But so far, this college itself, which already got this status, I don't feel it is autonomous because it cannot issue its own leading certificates. Identification is dependent, and there are other issues related to this. To be fully an autonomous institution, what you suggest to the organizing, to the chair and his members to make it as true autonomous college, so that it can guide the remaining college of duty. Okay.
Next.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Dr. Kaidul. I am an academic management in the Department of Biotechnology. I had a recommendation regarding the manpower in the NEP.
Yes.
So since most of the faculty recruited to the college is guest lecturers, academic arrangement, so how are you going to have the financially with respect to most of the
Sir, you are again posing a question. You are again posing a question.
this is the recommendation.
You are not
recommending for the academic arrangement because most of these teachers on academic arrangement are underappreciated and underpaid. So how, my recommendation is that since the NEP is guaranteeing more academic, bring a more student autonomy, how should we not introduce the recommendation of people in the academic arrangement lecturers?
Yes. This will not be the part of recommendation. This will not be part of the recommendation because he is actually posing a question which is to be solved by the administration. It's not pertinent to this college. This is a general question which is to be posed to the higher education department at large. It doesn't actually belong and pertain to this government degree college Baramulla.
One thing associated with this, one thing we can take a recommendation that the colleges which are efficient in the faculty, creation of the post is very important. More posts need to be created in college, particularly जो नए कॉलेज बने उनमें उनके 5 या 6 पोस्ट को क्रिएट किए हैं. जब आप उस कॉलेज को फ्रॉम सिंगल स्ट्रीम टू मल्टीपल स्ट्रीम करने जाएंगे तो उसके पास फैकल्टी होनी चाहिए. So creation of faculty is very important. It can be a recommendation. It can automatically open windows for those who are this time working as academic arrangement. If they are arrangement, they can find their position in there.
Good afternoon, sir. Dr. Salim from Chemistry Department. I would suggest that recommendation that at least from autonomous college you should be recognized as supervisors. Unless and become results as true values, we cannot see a bright future in research. And my second recommendation is before scientific edition, unless and unless government will not encourage PhD scholars, they will not get good results. Before sixth edition, PhD will be for PhD increments, 5 increments. But it is only in J&K that college teachers are not getting PhD increments and university teachers are getting PhD increments. And you can recommend that at least 2 PhD scholars should get PhD increments. That is second recommendation. And regarding innovation, I will suggest regarding innovation and research, government should at least provide some funding so that we can tie up our research projects to industry, because that is currently need of the hour, so that we can meet the challenges that China has currently doing so. Thank you.
In the institutions at large, particularly in respect of this institution which has been actually awarded this autonomous status. This has to create an ambience, an ecosystem for research and innovation. This institution particularly, and all those who come under the banner of autonomous. And as a consequence to this, the institution is supposed to introduce postgraduate programs. Professor rightly referred to the professor that the research scholars in this institution working as the faculty members should be recognized by the affiliated university as the research guides. Why not we create an ecosystem within the institution, because this institution is an autonomous institution. Let us take up with the government that more and more postgraduate programs are introduced in this college. One. Number two, and subsequently create a research ecosystem. Subsequently declare the institution as a research center. Therefore, in that case, you will have to get yourself recognized by the affiliated university as a provider. If this institution is declared as a research center, obviously you have to pursue and you have to guide the research projects of the research scholars, and obviously you will be the research guides. But in the meantime, if you actually request through government to the affiliated university to get these research scholars, faculty members declared as the research guides, that's very good. We must take up with the concerned affiliated university this issue. This is actually to be referred to the board of research studies of the concerned faculty of the university. We must, through the government, get it pursued with the affiliated university.
Sir, I will add up something, sir, regarding ecosystem. Currently in this college we have created much ecosystem, and currently we have much projects on going on in our college. But in one meeting I was with the VC aspirants to recruit new program. I actually just give them the suggestion. If I have been recruited in the higher education system on 2017, my same friend has been recruited in university 2000. If university gives him supervision and not me, I give suggestion just you just.
That's why I requested the principal staff through this forum, through this conference, let the government of the Unitary, concerned department of the Unitary, rigorously pursue this with the university authority. Not that this individual institute or any other institution will take up the issue with the university authority. Let the government come up to this kind of policy that the staff who are competent, who have the research bent of mind, let them be declared by the research boards of the concerned university as the research guides. Right? Now, one recommendation which is pertinent to this autonomous college. The government has to be very choosy with regard to positioning of the faculty members in this institution. In this institution, they have to be very choosy. And here, the authority of the head of the institution should be paramount. Head of the institution should identify the well-meaning people in the Unitary of Jammu and Kashmir who shall be posted in this institution, autonomous institution,
fundamental thing about the postgraduate departments in colleges is that it is there, it's the extension of the university centers, not of the home. Since now we are autonomous college, we have only 3 posts. One was granted universal post nationalization, and this recommendation should strongly go to the higher authorities that postgraduate departments at least should be given some more posts until they will not get sanctioned posts. Number one.
Augmentation of faculty.
There is so steady and slow pace of registering of the institutions on the ABC. Now that we have started the session in haste in colleges, on experimental basis, not in the universities, but the universities are not registering on the ABC platform. Another thing is that some of the topmost institutes, but we should not call it, we have the lack of the topmost institutes in the industry, but those whatever we are having there, because we are having certain weightage of credits in the industry also, subsequently after the completion of the first semester, we have NSQ related courses, where the credits are to be earned as a market in the industry. Those industrial units and the organizations should get a clear direction from the government, which should be given by the IIT department or other departments, that these students whosoever will visit the industrial unit should be provided particular amount of hours in terms of credits as their field experience. Second thing. Another thing is that, sir, in postgraduate departments, wherever post this implementation of NEP 2020, we are getting certain courses which we recommend sometimes, which are the need of the hour, which is based on the vision of the institutional head or the institutional heads, sub-heads, that the heads of the departments, who are the experts of their own domains. These projects will not be stalled like the way certain projects were stalled. Like for example, I quote an example that I in 2018 proposed to my working principal, then principal, and he forwarded it to higher education. We were the only department in the entire UTI to start a chair. It was named as Al-Razi Chair of Mental Health and Psychotherapy, which is the racist chair of mental health and psychotherapy. It is focusing on the traditional learning in, say, Indian tradition, Vedic tradition, or Islamic tradition in psychology. So this project, after getting a grant of 12.5 lakhs in the initial installment, in the second reaching into 1.8 now. So starting of this project was from the top to down. So it was not from the bottom, something which is recommended by the, we cannot innovate, we cannot give the ideas until there is no understanding from the top there that the ideas which come from teachers are the good ideas. It should not come from the people who are not concerned with the ideas, who are basically concerned with the administrative things. Let these things should not stop. There is another example like research and how modern budget has been stopped, or innovation and skill, other verticals which have been created in higher education. This recommendation should strongly go to the post this conference outcomes. Thank you.
May I address briefly? I want just one minute. The mood of the government right now is that they are also encouraging those industrialists and those people who have been learning certain things on the job into the academia now, even if they don't have the relevant degree. That's one. Two, because of the coming of innovation and skill, we might have to relax certain things, but I would put it to the forum and house that those of the departments in the college who are running a postgraduate program, the structure of those departments at least should be fully in the sync with university. Others where teaching is probably the most important deliverable from a teacher, you might relax some of the qualifications, but for those of the departments which have a postgraduate program, the structure should be strictly as per the synchronized with the university. I think that will be a hybrid model for the college. Thank you.
Sir, I have one question.
Sir,
I'm Nusrat from SC4CL. Sir, as we have recently studied from yesterday that anti-duty of employability, the new policy is that graduation employability. My small suggestion would be that being the autonomous college, you may think your own curriculum, if not for this year, next year onwards. I would like to put one suggestion that there should be one entire subject related to earning, and the title I suggest is How to Earn While Learning. It's not about the skill
working already on it. We have recently collaborated two departments, that is Department of Botany and Food Science Technology. The students who are at present enrolled in the college, they are at present preparing pickles, jams, juices, so many things, and even they are marketing it. So my hope towards the students is not feel complex if you are learning something new. The problem with our students is the attitude. Any student who comes here and she or he is asked, let you do this job, he or she feels complex. That's a problem with we people. We have to change the mindset. I fully appreciate your idea that there should be earn while learning. So what I am telling the students who are all present here, if there are certain means of earning something within the college while you are learning, it is the best thing for you because it is going to boost confidence in you. We are having here welding workshop.
Welding technology.
Welding technology. Any person, for example, is learning welding here, and whenever there is some sort of repairing taking place in the college, let the student come and let him take the wages for that welding in the college. So he is going to earn it. So for that matter, my dear students, you have to change your mindset. You have to come out of that inferiority complex. There is no complex at all, whether it is inferiority or superiority. These are both complexes. Come out of those complexes, be complex free. Then you are going to do anything in life.
Now many valuable recommendations have come from the participants. Many have come from the spokesperson policy on this side of the hall. And I am sure that Reportier must have recorded all of those recommendations and definitely it will go to the concerned department of concerned policy. I would thank you all for being part of this session because not in a way a technical session, which was basically a session for making the recommendation. So you actually gave a tool with regard to framing of those recommendations. I will request the organizers to just conclude the session. Thank you very much.
While the session was being posed, we had a very novel situation with Dr. Shasa. I put the mic to sir, first I like talking. So, because he might.
Excuse me, sir. I have just one point to make, and be very brief. Sometimes it so happens that the faculty that we need in the college is not in good supply from the source. There are subjects where we find that the applicants, number of applicants is far, far greater than the number of posts available. But in some cases, you don't find an appropriate person to teach. Even though he's not on the permanent faculty, you need a person as a guest faculty or as an academic arrangement, but the person is not available. The person may be available on a premium. He may say that I will come, but I will not come on the meager salary that you are offering me. Offer me this much, I will come. And your institution is in dire need of such a person. There must be a provision in the autonomous college to hire such person. Our worthy colleague was talking about financial autonomy. This type of autonomy must be there. That we hire a person who is much needed in the institution. We get him at a price, at a higher price, and let not our students suffer.
Thank you so very much for this very strong discussion.
You please take this.
The discussion was Thank you all for, I can see that I am just on everybody's face. Like, this is a topic that can tire anybody because this is something that is messy and needs to be, it has to evolve. While all other people were talking about the different challenges, the skills, the things that people will face, the student is to be equipped with being a better, entrepreneur in the course of life, but there is one consistent, persistent challenge that the student has to face, other than the economic ones and all other things, and that's life. So, as a value-added course, my final recommendation would be that life skills should be a very important value-added course where the student who face all the challenges of life, because that's what real education means. The skills can be tackled, and in autonomy, I would recommend that in autonomous colleges, we should have firstly the conditions in which the college exists and the situation of the college, the location of the college should allow us to offer the skills as per the location of the college and the resources available. So we should have freedom in that as well. So I thank you all for being here, and we will meet again in the valedictory. So I request the student participants to stay back so that they can be guided further for lunch, and the delegates to proceed for the same. Thank you all again.
Portrait.
Assam, could you speak? One, two, three, will you speak? Very well. Zubair.
Yes,